When it comes to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, the truth is hitting hard. If you're ready to see one of rap's so-called biggest names exposed as a fraud, a phony built on smoke and mirrors, then buckle up because this story is wild. And let's be clear, the dirt piling up on Drake's career isn't going away, no matter how hard he tries to scrub it clean. The latest headlines are tearing apart the carefully polished image Drake has spent years selling, and it all centers on his streaming numbers. His catalog, the very foundation of his empire, is now being called into question as artificial. If you thought his reputation was shaky before, what's surfacing now makes things look far worse. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar stands in sharp contrast. His success is undeniable, rooted in talent and a loyal fan base that doesn't need tricks or illusions to thrive. Drake's brand, on the other hand, is rotting from within. And here's the kicker. Just as Drake has flaunted fake muscles and abs, it now seems his numbers may be just as fake. Drake's most loyal fans, no matter how blindly they defend him, keep clinging to the absurd idea that Kendrick Lamar somehow inflated his streaming stats. They push the myth that Kendrick's success is fraudulent, but every attempt to discredit him backfires, only making them look out of touch. Take the Super Bowl, for example. After Kendrick's halftime performance, his monthly listeners surged past 110 million. That's the biggest television stage in the world. So naturally, his numbers skyrocketed. As expected, once the buzz cooled, his listeners settled back into the 80 million range, just as it would for any artist. But Drake's supporters twisted it into some grand conspiracy, ignoring the obvious. The reality is simple. Kendrick doesn't need fake streams. He has a genuine demand to keep him winning time and time again. Here's where it gets even more telling. Despite all the fake claims, fabricated receipts, and desperate narratives, the truth is shining brighter than ever. Streaming platforms like Spotify have been cracking down on fraudulent streams, wiping out inflated numbers across industry. Entire artists have seen their stats collapse overnight, exposing just how widespread the fakery has been. And yet, through every sweep, Kendrick Lamar's numbers have remained spotless, untouched and unshakable. Think about that. While others are being exposed, his stats haven't moved an inch. Why? Because his rise isn't built on bots or shady boosts. It's built on real demand, real fans, and timeless music. Look at his grand national tour. He just kicked off the European leg and sold out one of Germany's largest stadiums in Cologne. That's not smoke and mirrors. That's true superstardom. That's the kind of legacy artists dream of, but can't manufacture. Still, Drake's fans continue twisting themselves into knots, insisting Kendrick's numbers are fake. At this point, it borders on comedy. They push these claims with straight faces, but when the facts line up, their arguments crumble. Because no matter how you spin it, you don't reach Kendrick Lamar's level, decades of influence, stadium tours, global demand, without leaving one of the biggest footprints the industry has seen in years. Drake's side simply can't accept it, so they retreat into fantasy. Meanwhile, Kendrick continues to drop undeniable classics. Tracks like Not Like Us and Luther Stand Tall, untouched by any algorithm purge. The numbers don't lie, the records don't lie, and the culture doesn't lie. Kendrick's message hits harder than ever. You can try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. That truth is playing out in real time, and Drake's fan base simply can't handle it. Now, while Kendrick keeps shining, let's look at what happens when you actually rig the game and manufacture influence until the walls cave in. Unsurprisingly, this brings us straight to Drake and the chaos surrounding him right now. In Spotify's most recent Crackdown, where they scrub artificial streams across the board, 3 rap giants were exposed: Nicki Minaj, Kanye West, and of course, Drake. The fallout is shocking. Kanye's downfall has already been one of the ugliest collapses in music history, with his career in ruins and his industry support gone. Yet seeing his catalog tied to fake numbers raises deeper questions. Why the smoke and mirrors? Why the false projection of demand? It's messy, but the biggest consequence lands squarely on Drake. The numbers wiped from his catalog are raising eyebrows everywhere. Early data confirms what many suspected all along. His stats don't match his supposed dominance. And yet, instead of facing the truth, his supporters act like a cult-like fan base, denying reality no matter how clear the evidence is. They spin it into a new narrative. No, it's Kendrick losing numbers. But in reality, it's Drake's empire that's crumbling right in front of them. The deflection is relentless. His fans can't accept accountability, so they attack rivals instead. But the receipts don't lie. Spotify's Purge is exposing who's authentic and who's been hiding behind a carefully manufactured illusion. And while Kendrick's catalog remains spotless, Drake is taking the hit. That fact alone says everything. Of course, none of the excuses from Drake's camp hold up. Every time they're humiliated, they scramble for another story instead of facing reality. It's embarrassing to watch. Strip away the denial, and the picture is crystal clear. Drake's streams are being questioned, checked, and exposed for what they are. The numbers he clung to as a shield, the stats he used to inflate his ego, are unraveling in plain sight. For years, he hid behind those digits. Now, the legitimacy of his entire career is under fire. That last illusion of dominance, the look at my streams card, is turning out to be fake, too. And the timing couldn't be worse. With Kendrick's Not Like Us dominating culture, Drake's choices are coming back to haunt him. Behind closed doors, Drake's team is reportedly scrambling, pushing the claim that at least 10% of Not Like Us streams were fake. Some even argue it could be higher, insisting that fake listeners tricked real fans into replaying the song over and over. That's the desperate narrative they're clinging to now. It's pure delusion at the highest level. Instead of accepting that Kendrick just dropped a cultural anthem, one that has stadiums shaking and timelines exploding, Drake's camp is clinging to a fantasy math problem to soothe his bruised ego. But the truth is obvious to everyone. Kendrick doesn't need smoke and mirrors, and Drake's excuses only make him look weaker with each passing day. Drake's team wants the world to believe that Not Like Us only blew up because of fake streams. Yet the facts tell a completely different story. Kendrick's catalog remains untouched, standing tall without a single dent, while Drake is the one staring down the possibility of losing a massive chunk of his streams. The irony is brutal. His own empire of numbers could collapse at any moment, and the receipts are piling up. That dusty old curtain hiding Drake's industry tricks is being ripped wide open. For years, Drake has gamed the system, cutting deals, forcing his music onto playlists, and milking every loophole to stay on top. His career hasn't been driven by organic demand, but by autoplay and constant exposure. Step back and look at the bigger picture, and it starts to resemble grift more than greatness. Apple Music's recent reveal of the top 500 most streamed songs proves the point. Tracks like For Free are charting far higher than they realistically should, and anyone who actually uses the platform knows why. It's autoplay doing the work. These songs loop endlessly in the background, stacking fake momentum and inflating stats while listeners barely notice. That's not cultural impact. It's a glitch being exploited. Now, streaming platforms are finally auditing the numbers, breaking down what's real versus what's manufactured. And the truth is surfacing. Drake's catalog may not be nearly as legendary as it was painted. The machines build him up, but once you strip away the tricks, the numbers look very different, and not in his favor. To be clear, this isn't the same kind of stream fakery we see in other corners of music like K-pop, where inflated stats are openly used to create the illusion of global dominance. That fake it till you make it formula is part of their playbook. Drake's situation is even messier. He was never an underdog clawing his way up. He was placed on a pedestal right as streaming took over. Around the time of Views, when streaming began dominating the industry, Drake became the golden child. And what did he do with that privilege? He started cranking out trend-chasing songs like a machine, selling out artistry for quick hits. That's how his catalog ballooned with fast food music. Songs engineered for clicks, not culture. The industry leaned heavily on him to keep the streaming machine running, using autoplay, playlist flooding, and even farms to push his catalog everywhere. It built the illusion of an unstoppable dynasty. The myth of Drake as rap's ultimate hitmaker wasn't just hype. It was manufactured by an industry hungry for numbers and headlines. Now the cracks are showing. With Spotify and Apple scrubbing fake and inflated streams, Drake's numbers are slipping, and so are those of other big names. It's exposing a harsh reality. The so-called biggest stars, the ones we were told had the culture in a chokehold, may have been propped up by smoke and mirrors all along. Their music wasn't defining popularity. It was faking it. And now the curtain is falling. Let's be real, this is wild. After more than a decade of behind-the-scenes manipulation, the entire Drake OVO setup reeks of shady deals and tilted playing fields. The game has been rigged in favor of a select few for way too long, leaving everyone else fighting uphill. Watching Drake's fans spiral right now is something else. Reality is finally catching up, and they don't know how to handle it. The way people can be steered and manipulated by playlists, promo pushes, and algorithm tricks is alarming, but also a little hilarious. The Drake saga has hit an ugly point, and the receipts are piling up fast. It looks like we're heading into a legal chapter, where even more evidence is bound to surface, especially around Not Like Us, because Drake just can't stop digging into it. And in doing so, he's risking the exposure how his entire artistry and machine were propped up year after year by systems that gave him far more of a push than he deserved. Behind the scenes, labels and streaming platforms know the heat is coming, and they're bracing for impact. Maybe UMG or another powerhouse label already ran audits and uncovered the discrepancies. Maybe some glitch triggered the red flags. Either way, part of the illusion has been unplugged, and now it's showing. This could be the moment the industry is forced to clean house, or at least reevaluate how charts and streams really work. One thing is certain. What looked like overnight dominance for some artists wasn't pure cultural demand. It was machinery, not momentum. And now that machinery is under scrutiny, the headlines are about to get messy. Those who relied on smoke and mirrors are about to be dragged into the daylight. Or maybe the truth is even simpler. Maybe the platforms are just tired of Drake acting like he deserves superstar treatment on the level of prime Michael Jackson or even the Beatles. Let's be real, Drake has burned too many bridges with some of the most powerful figures in the industry. And not because he's some fearless crusader for artists, but because he comes off as entitled, out of touch, and blind to the real value of his own music. The industry enabled him, too. They let him believe mediocrity was greatness. Songs like Girls Want Girls or Slime You Out, tracks critics widely trashed, still racked up numbers because platforms and labels shoved them down everyone's playlists. They created the bubble Drake now lives in, where bad music equaled dominance. And that bubble is bursting in real time. Spotify is deep into scrubbing its system, confirming issues, and preparing to wipe out fake streams once and for all. The real question is, how far will they go? If they pull the trigger and expose just how much of Drake's empire was built on artificial momentum, the world is going to see him for what he really is. A man who thought he was running the game for 15 years, when in reality, he was fronting for a glorified streaming farm. And when that curtain fully drops, the meltdown from Drake's camp and his fan base is going to be priceless. Because once the numbers prove you weren't the king, you were just the illusion, there's no coming back. The industry itself is bracing for a shockwave. If even half of this proves true, Drake and his entire camp will be branded as straight-up grifters. Imagine that. One of the biggest names in rap, exposed as an artist whose empire wasn't built on influence, but on inflated numbers and industry tricks. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar shines brighter than ever, an authentic voice in an era where too many so-called superstars are being unmasked as manufactured illusions. And let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. This isn't just about bragging rights. These revelations could play directly into the Not Like Us case, shifting the power dynamic in real time. Every new detail raises the stakes, and the entire industry is watching closely to see how this battle reshapes streaming, chart manipulation, and the very definition of real success. But what do you think? Is Drake's empire finally collapsing under the weight of its own lies? Or are we just at the start of an even bigger storm? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This conversation is about to get explosive. And if you made it this far into the video, you already know the deal. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the movement. To everyone new here, thank you for helping push this channel past 100,000 subscribers. It means the world. Now let's aim for 200K. Share this video, leave a comment, and stay locked in because the culture is shifting and you don't want to miss what's next. And let's be real, this Drake lawsuit has spiraled into such a mess that even I was at a loss for words at times. If things keep unfolding the way they are, Drake might actually find a way to spin this case in his favor. And if that happens, the outcome could be something none of us ever expected, and maybe something nobody truly wants to see. One thing's for sure, this saga is only heating up from here. So stay locked in.